Welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This how-to podcast is focused on empowering you to live your best life by incorporating the principles of the law of attraction, neuro-linguistic programming, emotional freedom technique tapping, meditation, and other spiritual teachings. I'm Jeannie Hall, author, certified NLP, EFT, TFT practitioner, and creative empowerment coach. Let's get you empowered. Hello, and welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This is episode 49, Intuition. This is Jeannie Hall, and I'm an author and creative empowerment coach who helps authors with creative blocks figure out how to write again. And I'm also here for anyone who likes to be inspired and enjoys positivity and law of attraction, affirmations, meditations, anything that makes you feel more connected to your inner self. And for a few months now, I've had this podcast. The old podcast I had, Writing in Your Jammies, combined with this new one, Create Your Empowered Self, actually has over 100 episodes now. And I'm thrilled that it has that many and that I've been able to get this far. And I've been sharing this most recent podcast, Create Your Empowered Self, every Wednesday and Saturday. And I've been committed to doing this to help you, my listeners, to hopefully grow and to feel happier whenever you hear it. I've also created it so that I can grow my business and be more visible out there in the social media spheres. And I realized recently, though, that having a podcast twice a week is starting to feel like a chore a little bit. The feeling around it has just begun to feel more heavy and even oppressive. And I realized I wasn't enjoying it as much as I used to. And even though I didn't overtly ask God or the universe for guidance on this, it seems I'm being led in a specific direction. And that direction is to back off a bit. And as many of you know, if you've listened to this podcast at all, I am a newer life coach, and it is up to me to either make or break my business. And since my business is all about helping and empowering my clients, I've felt like I wanted to put as much out there that would be free and available to anyone who comes across it as I could. But also, part of my own empowerment in creating this business has been about being fully honest with myself. And I came to the realization that I didn't leave my soul-crushing day job just to become a slave to my own business. I want to bring a positive energy and love to what I do at all times, not feel like it's this drudgery that many of us call work. That is what I left, and that is not what I want to go to. So to listen to my own advice, I've decided to follow my intuition in this matter. And my intuition is telling me twice a week is too much. I need to focus more energy on my clients and on growing what I believe will be the most enriching adventure I've ever taken. One that will reach out and help many and create the ripple in the pond that I want to create, a positive force in this world, or at least in my little corner of it. So I will be slowing down a little by changing the show to once a week. Right now I'm planning to keep the show active on Saturdays because serene Saturdays just seem to make sense. Also, I'll be following my own intuition on what feels right. So if that changes going down the line, I will let you know that too. How did I come to this decision? Well, I've learned to pay a lot more attention to my emotional barometer. This is how we know what our intuition is trying to tell us. If we feel bad, that is a sign that maybe we need to reevaluate and possibly go in a different direction. And I started to notice that I was dragging my feet when it came time to create my podcast sometimes. Because when I originally started this and learned all the technical ins and outs of doing this, I was working a full-time day job, working a lot of hours, and I still managed to get the podcast out on time, I think every time but once. So now that I'm fully self-employed and I have time and I get to dictate what I do with that time, when I noticed that I was dragging my feet, I thought, okay, maybe I need to look at this. And I also received an interesting sign outside of my thought process on the matter and on how I was feeling sluggish about it and hesitating and dragging my feet. Because I've been doing in the month of September, as I record this, it's September 2018, and I've been doing this special daily affirmation program with my newsletter. And so for every day I don't have a podcast, I would share an affirmation with my list. And the funny thing is, on this past Wednesday, I totally forgot to send out a newsletter reminding everyone of my latest podcast. And I sent it out on all my social media outlets, but I totally forgot to put it in my newsletter that day. And something really fascinating happened. My list, which honestly has been growing and then shrinking like Alice in Wonderland. It's up and it's down. It seemed to be without rhyme or reason until I started this affirmation a daily affirmation for September. But then it went up and went back down in September too. And I just thought, oh, what is this all about? I don't know. But then I forgot to do the newsletter last Wednesday. And it jumped up that day by 20 people. And then the next day, it jumped up by 4 more. And to me, that was a sign from the universe that pulling back and focusing on other aspects of my business is the right thing to do. I have so much more I want to do and to create for all of you, but podcasts really do take a lot of my time and energy. So I've decided to pull back to once a week. I'm following my guidance and my intuition in this. And I wouldn't be a very good coach if I didn't follow my own advice, I don't think. So that's really ultimately why I've made the decision to go to just Saturdays. And again, I'm not stopping my podcasting altogether. I'm just slowing things down. The podcasts I've received the most reviews and positive responses on have been those featuring meditations or similar processes to that. So I may go forward with that format as my emphasis. Like I said, Serene Saturdays seem to be a little more successful. So don't forget that I always take my guided meditations and affirmations and rampages and I strip out everything but just the process and put them on my guided meditation page on my website, creativeempowermentcoach.com. So check out that if you like to listen to guided meditations. Also check out last week's episode on fearlessness, which also includes a meditation at the end. I'm being more fearless right now by taking the risk of changing how I present my content to the world. And it may help my business to flourish, or it may make my podcast fail altogether. I don't know. But I do have faith. I know I'm being shown the way in this and in all things. And whatever happens, I hope you understand. I hope my example helps you in some way to believe in yourself too. That if you feel something you've tried or something you're putting out there has become too much, a little overwhelming, and your emotional barometer and your intuition is telling you to pull back and try something else, I hope you listen to it. And of course, I'm always here if you're interested in coaching too. And links to all of those things are in the show notes. So if you have a story of when you have followed your own intuition, I'd love to hear about it. So until next time, thanks so much for listening, and may you have an empowered day, week, month, and year. Bye-bye.